Hare Krishna. I'm very grateful and honored to be with all of you again. So we will discuss these godly qualities that are described actually in Bhagavad-gītā in the beginning of 16th chapter, verses 1 to 3. Otherwise, the 16th chapter is more or less dedicated to, for the description of demoniac qualities, and we should know both what is pleasing to the Lord, and this is described in the first 3 verses very thoroughly, and also what is displeasing to the Lord in the rest of the chapter. More or less last of the chapter. We have just discussed these qualities in Paris, and we haven't covered the first verse yet, the whole verse. So we will not repeat everything from the beginning, and we will start from Svadhyaya, which is one of the qualities mentioned by Krishna in the first verse, is Abhayam Sattva Samshritir Jnana Bhuyoga Vyavastiti Dhanam Dhammascha Yagyascha Svadhyaya Stapa Arjavam. So we can resume a little bit for the first these qualities, and of course if anyone is interested in these discussions that we had in Paris, you're most welcome to see my YouTube channel, which is Consciousness Revolution, by the way, if you're interested. Consciousness Revolution. Yes, youtube.com/@Consciousness Revolution. Yes, so we have discussed these qualities. First quality mentioned by Krishna is Abhayam. Abhayam, we know it means fearlessness. To be fearless is extremely important quality of a devotee, because it shows our dependence, our faith in Krishna. Because as long as we identify with this mortal body, we cannot be fearless. It's not possible. Yes. Because as soon as we identify that I'm the body, or that my existence is material, then immediately I'm afraid of losing my existence, because we can see that everything is changing around us, and that everyone, and we can also see that we perceive that we have changed very much. If we take a picture when we were born and we look ourselves in the mirror, we can see completely different outlook, completely different picture. So we have changed, and since our nature is to be eternal, Satchitananda, we don't want for our existence to be finished. Yes, we want to exist eternally. So as long as we identify, we have any identification with this world, we cannot be free from fear. And we can check our heart if there's any trace of fear in our heart, of anything. That means that we still are rooted in this material existence. Yes. So, therefore, devotee strives and we will discuss this topic today about svadhyaya, about study, how important it is to study. And before we begin on this discussion, I want to point out that these qualities by themselves are not pleasing to the Lord if they are devoid of bhakti. So we never try to develop these qualities for these qualities' sake. Yes, just to have these qualities. Because if they are devoid of our desire for service to Krishna, they are just like ornaments on the dead body. And ornaments on the dead body are useless, of course. Yes. That doesn't really decorate the dead body. So, bhakti is what it counts. And also, this is also explained by Krishna many times in different verses in Shastra. For example, in 11th canto, Krishna says, "Na sadayati mam yogo na dharmam na sankyam dharma mudava na svadhyayas tatapast yogo yata bhaktir mamorjita." So these different qualities of dharma, sankhya, and svadhyaya, study of Vedic scriptures, and so on, they don't please Krishna really very much if they are devoid of bhakti. So the spirit, and Krishna is Supreme Spirit, and we are also particles of spirit, is interested only in love, actually. Nothing satisfies the self as love satisfies the self. So we are always searching for love, knowingly or unknowingly. Everything we do, everything we think, everything we say is with this goal in mind, or unknowingly or knowingly, to be happy. This is Sachit Ananda, and only happiness is in love. I've just listened in one discussion with Swami Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj, and we will have the opportunity to hear from him very soon. So he said one thought from Rabindranath Tagore, that he said that I dreamed that life is joy, but when I woke up I realized that life is service, and when I engaged in service I found out that service is joy. So yes, service is joy, of course, if it is directed to one we love. If it is directed to persons we hate just for some selfish purpose, it's a source of misery, isn't it? So the point is that we have to develop love. And as I've said, Spirit is interested only in love. Therefore Krishna is interested only in Radha, because she's supreme embodiment of love. Prima Rupa, one mantra is said that Radha is Prima Rupa, embodiment or form of love. Yes. So we should approach, therefore, these qualities with this consciousness in mind. I want to please Krishna. I don't want to acquire these qualities just for me to be a great personality, that I have control over my consciousness, or I have control over my mind, which is the goal of many different types of yoga, to control the mind and senses. Yes, these are, of course, necessary, but if they are devoid of bhakti, they are useless. Yes, they don't contribute much to our existence, because our present existence without bhakti will be just finished sooner or later. So therefore we should always understand this, that I try to develop these qualities because they are pleasing to Krishna. They are pleasing to Krishna. And this is also the meaning of the next quality, sattva samshuddhi, of purifying of one's existence. Is most important is to purify this consciousness that I'm independent, that I'm the enjoyer, because this consciousness of independence is very much ingrained in our heart. We are all in this world because we want to be the Lord to some degree or another. But we should know the basic principle that we are the servant. Jivara Swarupa Hoy Krishna Nityadas. Nityadas, always the servant. Not that we are sometimes master and sometimes a servant, but always the servant. And Krishna says that Mamaivam Shur Jiva Loki Jiva Buddha Sanatana, that every living being, every living entity is part and parcel of me. So if we understand that we are eternally servant of Krishna, it means that we realize also that we are a servant of every living entity. Yes, because every living entity is a servant of Krishna. But we don't serve conditioned living entities according to their crazy desires. We should also understand this, that this understanding that I'm a servant doesn't mean that we serve the living entities according to their desires. I can give you an example. Like, if there is a diseased person, the doctor, the physician, doesn't cure the person, this patient, according to the patient's desire, because usually patient's improper desire caused the disease. So the patient, the physician tries to cure the patient in such a way that the patient is cured as soon as possible, not that he would like to please his craziness. So in order to serve conditioned living entities means that we try to help them to be cured as soon as possible. This is proper service of diseased living entities. Yes, not in the way that they would like us to serve them. So yes, so we should begin with this svadhyaya topic, or study of Vedic scriptures. There is one folk song, Slovenian folk song. It goes like this. I don't know the whole song by heart, but I know a little bit. It is said that, where are those paths there used to be?
Where are those what?
Paths.
Pots.
Paths. The path, the roads, the paths that there used to be. They are now overgrown by thorns and bushes and grass. But I will cut down these thorny bushes and grass, and I will make the paths again. This is very nice because it's a similar reasoning that Shukadeva Goswami gives in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, when he explains the rainy season in Vrindavan. And he says, Marga bubu sandikta strinaishchana hiya samskrita nabhyashchamana munayo vijay shadana. Thank you. Marga bubu sandikta strinaishchana hiya samskrita nabhyashchamana munayo vijay kalena chahata. And it says that in the rainy season, these different roads and paths are all grown by grass and littered by debris, and they practically are impassable. And they are similar to the Vedic scriptures that are not studied by the Brahmanas. So, if the Vedic literatures are not studied by the Brahmanas, they lost their message. The message is lost. So, in order to us to not lose the message of Krishna, we should study scriptures. Yes. And not study scriptures just to know them, as we just mentioned. We should study scriptures to please Krishna, to develop qualities that are pleasing to Krishna. Immediately, if one is in love with someone, he tries to know what is pleasing to this person, isn't it? I don't know if you heard, I don't know even if it's true or not, but I've read somewhere that there was some person who tried very much to meet the Queen of England. And then somehow or other he was able to climb over the wall of this of her palace and climb through one of the windows inside the palace. Have you heard about this story? Yeah. Is it true? Yes, I think so, it's true. But and he really met the queen, but he didn't know what to do, and he offered her a cigarette. But she said, I don't smoke. So he couldn't please her. So it's very important to understand what pleases the object of our love that we want to please. Because object of love, our love is expressed by service, as we have just mentioned. We cannot express our love any other way. There is a joke. There was some person who wrote a love letter to his beloved, and he wrote that for you I would cross mountains, I would swim across the oceans, and so on and so forth in this way. I would go through the jungles just to meet you, to be with you. And then at the end of the letter, he wrote, see you on Saturday if there is no rain. Yes. So, as long as we speak about love and we are not ready for service, It's just lip service, not real love. So, anyone who wants Jai Shri Radha Gopinath ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadramayi ki Jai, Shri Gauranitai ki Jai. So, anyone who wants to develop love for Krishna must know what is pleasing to Krishna very much. And it is explained by Lord Chaitanya himself in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Lord Krishna, and he quotes when he instructs Sanatana Goswami, and he quotes different Shastra, how Krishna revealed Shastras just out of his mercy to know him. Hare Krishna. Because we cannot know Krishna without being instructed. So, therefore, it is explained by our acharyas, Shruti Smriti Purana Di Pancharatra Vidimbina, Aikantiki Harir Bhaktir Utpate Vakalpate, that even though one may have so-called Aikantiki Bhakti, one-pointed bhakti, one-pointed devotional service, if it is devoid of instruction of Shruti and Smriti, of Shastra, is just annoyance. It's just distraction for the society. Yes. And it's very interesting that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains this same point, the same verse, in Raghavartma Chandrika, which is the book on Raganuga Bhakti, actually. So, even though one develops great desire for service to Krishna, one has to know how to serve him. Yeah. Even if you want to develop a very intimate relationship with Krishna, we have to know how to serve him, how to please him. Yes, therefore, many things are mentioned in Shastra. What is pleasing to Krishna, which ragas are pleasing to Krishna in which part of the day, which foods are pleasing to Krishna. And of course, before all of this, we should understand what kind of consciousness is pleasing to Krishna. Therefore, the three scriptures in our tradition that cannot be skipped, and is a Bhagavad-gītā, Srimad Bhagavatam, of course, and Chaitanya Charitamrita, and one should read them daily. Yes, one should read them daily. Yes, all of them. And when we go through, we should start and read them again and again and again. And this is also instruction given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Raghavartma Chandrika, and he gives very nice example. When one wants to have milk, he has to purchase a cow to have milk. But then he needs instruction on how to maintain the cow. That's how to care for the cow. You have cows here in Radhadesh. So if no one would care for the cows, it would be a catastrophe. So we have to know how to care for the cows. Yes. And so if we want to develop love for Krishna, we have to know what is conducive for Krishna consciousness and what is not. And these are first two symptoms of surrender. Anakulyasya sankalpaha, pratikulyasya varchanam. Rakshishati iti vishaso goptritve varnam tata atma nikshepa karpane shatvida sharanagati. There are 6 items of surrender, and first 2 items are to accept what is favorable for devotional service, and the other is to reject whatever is not favorable for devotional service, unfavorable. So, to know what is favorable and what is unfavorable, we should study and we should hear from authority, from a bona fide authority. Yes. And to know who is bona fide authority, we should also know Shastra. Otherwise, our faith would be just fanatical or sentimental, and both is detrimental for our development of Krishna consciousness, of spiritual consciousness. Jiva Goswami explains that there are 2 types of faith. One is Shastriya Shraddha, and the other one is Lokiki Shraddha. And many times we can see that even devotees are satisfied with Lokiki Shraddha. Lokiki Shraddha means faith that we receive from other people. And we don't know if it's bona fide or not. And Shastriya Shraddha is, of course, Shraddha based on Shastra. And so we should know what is stated in Shastra, what Shastra wants us to do. And it is explained by Krishna himself in the very same chapter, of 16th chapter. He says at Yashtastra vidim utsraja vartate kamakara nasa siddhim avapnoti nasukham na param gatim. He says, Yakshastra vidim utsrija, one who rejects the injunction of Shastra, and he acts according to his desires, his own desires. Nasa siddhim avapnoti. He will not attain siddhi or perfection. And one may say, okay, I will not attain perfection, but I'll be happy. Nasukam, says Krishna. If we don't follow the instruction of Shastra, he says that nasukam, we cannot be happy. Even though we can say we don't want perfection, but we want to be happy. Everyone wants to be happy. If I would ask you, in percentage, how much of happiness do you want? What do you say? 100%. Everyone agrees? 108. And if I ask you in percentage, how much of misery do you want? 0. And it's very interesting because wherever I ask this question, I receive the same answer. So we all want to be happy. And Krishna says, Nasukam. If you don't follow Shastra, there is no Nasukam, no happiness. Yes. And one can say, okay, I'll not attain perfection, and I will not be happy, I can accept this, but at the end of life I will go back home, back to Godhead. Na param gatim. Krishna says, na param gatim. You will not go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. So, and therefore he says, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te. Therefore, Tasmat means therefore. Therefore, Shastra is Pramana, is the measurement, what is worthy of consideration and what is not. What is worthy of following and what is not. But in order to understand what Shastra is asking from us, we should study. We should study regularly, every day. Therefore, Prabhupada put so much effort in translation work, in writing, for us to study. And once there was a discussion with Prabhupada about book distribution, and then he asked his devotees, "And do you read my books? Do you read my books?" And it turned out that not many of the devotees were reading Prabhupada's books. They were busy distributing books, but not reading. And Prabhupada was not satisfied. He said that I write these books mostly for you, to study them regularly and to understand them. Yes. And as we know, he slept only 2 hours a day, from 10 p.m. to midnight, and then got up and started to translate books. Yes. So he put so much effort, and he said that that his books are his ecstasies, actually. So when we read Prabhupada's books and other Shastra, we participate in ecstasies of great souls, actually. Yes. So I invite you to regularly study Shastra. And when Prabhupada once he said that we should read at least 3 hours per day. And other times, of course, we know he said that at least 1 hour. So we should try to study regularly Shastra and hear Shastra and go deep into Shastra. Yes. Because this knowledge of Shastra is again useless, Hare Krishna, useless without bhakti. And bhakti is ultimately sentiment in which we perform our service. So we want to love Krishna. And love is something which is deep in our heart, doesn't stay on the surface. So we shouldn't study scriptures just to know them, just to remain on the surface. Because if we study scriptures and remain on the surface of the message, will not gain much. Yes. So it's important to try to go deep in understanding the mood of certain leelas, for example, and why is great souls or Krishna himself recommending something. So we should not try just to remember and to have certain knowledge. Of course, it's good. It's much better that we don't know anything, but still, we should try and go deep. And as for any study, we should know that, as is Latin proverb, repetitium est mater studiorum, and I believe you understand that repeating is the mother of study. Yeah. Yeah, so we should read again and again and again. Don't just tick. Yes, I have read this book. Yeah, and you tick in your notebook. Yeah. I went through this book Yes, I read this book, I read this book. No, it's not enough. We should connect with the spirit of the book. We should try to extract the essence. We should be a Hamsa. Hamsa is a swan, and it's characteristic for the swan that he's able to extract milk from water. Yes, so we should also be like a swan to extract the essence of our studies. Always we should go for the essence. Yes, and Krishna is also Saragrahi. The one who is attracted by the essence, not the externals. So, in all our spiritual life, we should go for the essence, not remain on the surface of anything. Yes. Then we can hope that we can develop deep love. And Krishna, Prabhupada is writing in his commentary to the prayers of Queen Kunti that even our chanting depends on the quality of our feeling. This is not usually that we speak like this in connection with Prabhupada. He stressed chanting very much. Of course, it is extremely necessary to chant. There is no other way in Kali Yuga. Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Namaiva Kevalam. Kalo Nastiva, Nastiva, Nastiva Katiranyata. There is no other way in Kali Yuga except chanting of the holy name, chanting of the holy name, and chanting of the holy name. And every other type of devotional service should be accompanied by the chanting of the holy name. This is explained by Jiva Goswami in Bhakti-sandarbha. That although there are different types of devotional service, in Kali Yuga they should be accompanied by the chanting of the holy name. Yes, which is the most powerful process and very simple to perform. But still, although we can chant the holy name, Prabhupada says that the quality of our chanting depends on our feeling. But our feeling is not something just sentimental, but is established on true feeling is established on truth, on absolute truth. And we can say, yes, I love Krishna, I love Krishna Katha, Krishna Lila, Radha Krishna Lila. But if I'm disturbed when I'm criticized, it's a sign that our affection for these different stories is very much superficial. That we still remain, that our consciousness remains on the material platform. Yes. This is very important to understand. Without accepting these qualities of Trinada Pisanichana, Taroriva Sahishnana, Amarina Mana Dina Kirtanyaksada Hari, we can never go deep in anything, actually. We cannot go deep in our chanting. We cannot go deep in our studies of Shastra. We cannot go deep in anything, actually. If you don't strive to be more humble than a blade of grass, as tolerant as a tree, and if you are not, if you are expecting any respect for oneself, and we are not ready to give respect to others. And this is very easy to check. If we try to defend ourselves, this is a sign that we have not realized, we are not developed these qualities of amanina. That we don't expect respect, or that we are not trying to be more humble than a blade of grass in the street. This is also mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita in connection with the explanation of this verse by Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, that one should not defend himself. This is, of course, a very difficult exercise, not to defend ourselves, especially if we are accused of something that we didn't do. Yes, that we don't. Usually, we defend even if we are accused of something we have done. Yes, but if we are able not to defend ourselves, even if we are accused of something that we haven't done, this is very difficult. It's very difficult. But if we are able to not to defend, then we very quickly spiritually progress in our life. Yes, because then we realize that it's actually Krishna's mercy. No one is independent. Everything Mayadikshina Prakriti Suite Sacharachana Hitunanana Konta Jagat Viparivartate. Everything is going on under Krishna's control. Nothing is happening without Krishna's will. Even a blade of grass, it's said, doesn't move without Krishna's will. So, whatever is happening to us, pleasing or not pleasing, enjoyable or painful, is actually Krishna's mercy. And such a perception has the power to change curses into benedictions, into boons. But material consciousness, if we strive for our right, for our position, for our name, yes, then we change the boons into curse. Actually, material consciousness has a power to change boons into curses. But spiritual consciousness has the power to change curses into boons. Yes. So we should try to develop this spiritual consciousness. Tatena kampansu samikshamano bunjana evatma krityam vipakam. Hritvapa purbir vidatanam asti jivitayo muktipati satayabhak. That whatever is happening to me is just Krishna's mercy. But we will not understand this without regular study of scriptures. Yes. It's impossible for us to understand this. Impossible. Because it's completely against our conditioned nature. Our conditioned nature means I want to survive. And of course, I want to survive on the plane I identify with. This is natural. If I identify with my spiritual dimension, then I'm not afraid of anything. Because spirit is everlasting, cannot be destroyed. Our relationship with Krishna, if we realize it, cannot be destroyed. Whatever is happening outside, like Socrates said, I believe, when they gave him poison to drink. They wanted to kill him because of his philosophy. And he said, "You cannot kill me. You cannot even keep me in prison. Even if you destroy this body, you don't touch me." Yes. So, if we have this type of consciousness, we cannot be touched by anything in this world. Even injustices and so on cannot touch us, cannot destroy our relationship with Krishna. So we are not bothered with this. We are bothered with service. What is pleasing to Krishna and what is not. What is pleasing to my spiritual master and what is not. This is important. And not if my name is tarnished, or if I am accused of something that I haven't done. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said something very interesting, that when someone is glorifying me, I don't protest. Because I take it that, yes, this devotee is very merciful. And it's nature of the devotees that they see good even in bad, in bad people. Yes. Adosha Darshi. For a devotee is natural that he's Adosha Darshi, that he doesn't see bad qualities. And if someone criticizes me, I also don't protest. Because I know that he's my benefactor, my well-wisher. He wants to correct me. And he points out just a little of my faults. Just a little amount of my faults. Yes. He's very nice, actually. And it's a very interesting thought that I've heard some. I don't know who said it, but it's very it's an interesting thought. He said that no one knows so many bad things about myself as myself. But no one has such a good opinion of myself as I myself. Isn't it interesting? Hare Krishna. So, we cannot adopt such consciousness without regular hearing and regular study. Therefore, our spiritual life depends on regular study, on hearing. And only then we will understand that what is pleasing for Krishna is my only life, not what is pleasing to my mind and my senses. And if one is glorifying me or criticizing me or accusing me something or not, these are not important. Important is what is pleasing to Krishna. Yes. And if we don't hear and read regularly, we will not even understand this. What to speak of imbibing this consciousness. Yes. Because even if we have jnana, we will not reach the stage of vijnana if we don't hear repeatedly, again and again and again. Yes. Only when we hear repeatedly and we try to give it in practice, not for the quality's sake, but because it's pleasing to Krishna. Only then we can start to progress in our life. Then we can see. We can check. In the morning we can ask Krishna for help, because although we strive for develop these different good qualities, we cannot by ourselves also. We should also understand this, that we are helpless without Krishna's mercy. Yes. Krishna himself explains this in 7th chapter of Bhagavad-gītā. Daivī-sampad gunamayi mama maya duratya mam eva ye prapadanti maya meta antarandite. That my maya is duratya, is impossible to overcome. But only by my mercy you can cross beyond it. If you surrender to me, mam eva ye prapadanti. Certainly, eva means certainly, something that strongly supports some statement, eva. So it's without doubt, only if we surrender to Krishna, we can cross beyond Maya. So we can develop these qualities only by Krishna's help, only by Krishna's mercy. Yes, it is explained in Bhagavatam in the beginning, in the 2nd chapter of 1st canto. Nashta preshva bhadrishu nityam Bhagavata-sevaya Bhagavad-uttama-shleki bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular service and hearing, regular hearing, as we just mentioned, how important is the regular hear, our bhakti can become fixed, naishtiki. As Prabhupada says, becomes irrevocable fact. And then he says, tada means then. Tada rajastamo bhavaha kama lobhadayaschi chaitara vita vidvam stitam sattve prasidati. That only then we can transcend this influence of rajas and tamas by Krishna's mercy, by bhakti. Because Krishna himself is the one who cleanses our heart from within our heart. Yes. But we should strive to please Krishna. This is the symptom of surrender, to accept what is favorable and reject what is unfavorable. This is our first sign of surrender. But to know how to, what is pleasing and what is displeasing, we should regularly study. Yes. And then we will realize that love is the only thing that matters. Yes. Also, it is mentioned in 2nd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavan Brahma Karsana Trina Bhiksham Vanishaya Tadatya Vasat Kutasto Ratiratman Yatobhavet. That Brahma studied all the body of Vedas 3 times. And the 3rd time he concluded on the Dara study. And Dara study means that we at least study something 3 times. He concluded that Ratri Atmanya Tobhaveta, that attraction, that love for the self, the Supreme Self, of course, of Krishna, or Bhakti, is the purpose of Vedic study. So we should understand this. We should study and study and study for one only purpose, to please Krishna, to develop love for Krishna. Hare Krishna. Is there any question or comment or doubt?
This word svajai, self-study or study of Vedic literatures, is mentioned in 16.1, as you mentioned.
Yes.
It's also there in 17.15 as one of the limbs of austerity of speech.
Of speech, yes.
It is interesting because you study Vedas. Of course, you can also recite them, but my understanding is, and I want to ask your feedback on that, that if you study sufficiently, that whenever you speak, it will also be Veda.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Otherwise you speak from your mind to all kinds of interpretations or things, theories. But if you study deeply, then when you start speaking, it will be like a realized version of what you have read.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much for this point. um, we'll discuss these austerities, different kind of austerity, because the next quality is tapa. And as you mentioned, yes, the quality of austerity with speech is svadhyaya, or self-study, or study of Krishna consciousness, or Shastra. And yes, this is very important. If we speak from Shastra, and if we study Shastra, we imbibe Shastric knowledge. It's not just repeating something. But even repeating something is very good. But realizing is even better. Then our speech is absolute truth, because the source of our words is absolute truth, Himself. But if we speak out of our mind, or our feelings, or our conditioned understanding, this is a type of cheating, even if we don't know. But it's cheating, and it is detrimental for everyone who hears. Yes, because even in psychology it is said that we are influenced by everything we encounter, with every person we meet, with every impression there is, where our consciousness is influenced. So when we hear people who are not attuned with absolute truth, they convey their idea what is beneficial and what is not beneficial in life, what one should strive for in life and what not to strive for, what is good and what is bad. And therefore this consciousness influences also our perception. Therefore it is so much stress that we should keep the company of saintly people. And of course we should also become one of the saintly people and know Shastra and be influenced by Shastra, be influenced by people who live Shastra and speak Shastra, of course. And then we can be influenced by the absolute truth. Yeah, so it's so important. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes, please.
Thank you. You mentioned that one should study to understand the spirit of the book or Shastra. So I was wondering practically, when there might be certain aspects of Shastra which we don't fully understand, how much effort should we put into it, thinking like, okay, we can pray to Krishna, but maybe I'm not ready to understand this, so how stubborn should we be to try and understand, or maybe just, okay, for now I don't understand and then come back later. So is there like a right way of doing this?
Yes, thank you also for this point. Of course, we should have this humble approach. Maybe it's not possible for me at this time to understand everything perfectly, but I should inquire. I should not just dismiss something. If I have any doubt or any misunderstanding as something not important. So we should approach someone who knows, or we believe that he knows. And we have different examples from Shastra, how determined were to understand properly different Shastric statements. For example, and there was Advaita Acharya, who wanted to interpret every shloka of Bhagavad-gītā according to bhakti. But he had a small problem to understand how this verse from 13th chapter of Bhagavad-gītā, Sarvatak Padipadam Pat Sarvatot Kshiksharomukam Sarvatak Shrutimaloke Sarvam Avrityatishvati. How there is explained that Lord faces and Lord legs and everything is in everywhere, in all direction, and his hands. And how is this connected to bhakti? He couldn't understand, and he fasted to understand for several days, and then it was revealed to him that he will understand this later. Yes. So we should be very determined to understand something. We should try to find proper answers and to go deep. Especially if we have this approach to try to understand, then we'll naturally go deep. But if we just read for the reading's sake, we'll miss not just the spirit, but also the information. Yes. So we should not just read for the reading's sake. We should try to understand, and we should strive to find the answers to our questions. Yes. This is the quality of a disciple. Tadvidi pranipatana pariprashnena sevaya. Pariprashna is inquiry. And it is injunction of all the Shastra that we inquire. Jivasya tattva jigyasa. We live only to inquire. And it is explained in Chaturshloki of Bhagavatam. Etavateva jigyasam tattva jigyasanatmana. Anvaya vyatirekabhyam yat yat sarvatra sarvada. That we should inquire about absolute truth in all circumstances, and directly and indirectly we should inquire. So we should be inquisitive about the absolute truth, and find those who live Shastra, and we trust them, inquire from them if we don't get the answer from the acharyas. Hare Krishna. Anything else? Thank you very much for your attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Bhagavad-gītā ki jai, Nitya Gaura Pramanandi.